The story of our museum spans more than 80 years, from its genesis in England as the Abbey Folk Park to its re-emergence in Caboolture as the Abbey Museum of Art and Archaeology. Let's go back to New Barnet, north of London, 1934. It is difficult to exaggerate the appeal that this captivating place makes to a traveller. It has crude things and splendid things, historic things and curious things. A walk around it is probably worth a month of schooling to any boy or girl. Arthur Mee was describing an extraordinary new open-air museum. Like other visitors, he was enthralled by the Abbey Folk Park during its brief but remarkable flourishing in the years before the Second World War. The Folk Park was the brainchild of John Ward, author, esoteric scholar and leading Freemason, with a lifelong fascination for history, archaeology and collecting.
Ward came from a middle-class family. His father was an Anglican clergyman, but his endless curiosity led him to explore spiritualism, mysticism and secret societies. As a schoolteacher in Burma, he was intrigued by Eastern religions, and in 1930 he established a small spiritual community at Hadley Hall in North London.
Ward studied history at Cambridge University. When a Royal Commission into museums and galleries recommended a new approach to social history, Ward was inspired to establish Britain's first open-air folk museum in the grounds of Hadley Hall. As director of the Folk Park, John Ward enthralled visitors with stories of the objects he'd been collecting since childhood. He took an entrepreneurial approach to collecting, writing to newspapers, calling for donations to preserve England's heritage as he built his Museum of World Civilizations. Gifts poured in from donors, including the royal family. Ward pioneered the recreating of ancient buildings to engage visitors in the past. The centrepiece of his folk park was the prehistoric village, a series of life-sized replica dwellings showing their evolution from the earliest period of human occupation in Britain. Each building, equipped with artefacts and furniture, offered visitors an immersive experience of ancient Britain. The Times newspaper called John Ward the man who collects houses. In his folk park, he rebuilt a 13th century tithe barn for his community to use as their church. Then there was an apothecary shop, a smithy, and an arcade of old-time shops. In the garden, visitors came across the ruins of a Roman villa, a witch's cottage, and a small building containing priceless medieval stained glass from Winchester Cathedral. Into these buildings, Ward crammed over 90,000 objects from all over the world. Ceramics, weapons, artwork, glassware, armour and manuscripts. Visitors flocked to see his amazing treasures, an enthralling pageant of the ages.
World War II was devastating for Ward's folk park. The attractions closed with the start of the London Blitz, and Ward became embroiled in a disastrous court case. By 1945 it was clear the park would not reopen, and in the austerity of post-war Britain, he and his community decided to leave. The majority of Ward's collection was sold and the remainder packed into crates.
In 1946, Ward and his community emigrated to Cyprus, taking with them almost 5,000 artefacts. Despite being almost penniless, Ward collected Cypriot objects and led expeditions to ancient ruins until his health deteriorated and he died in 1949. Cyprus at that time was a British Crown colony. However, EOKA, a nationalist organisation that wanted to unite Cyprus with Greece, made life dangerous for British residents. It was time to leave. Led by Ward's widow, Jessie, the Abbey Community travelled via Sri Lanka, arriving in Sydney in 1955. It was a time of great financial hardship for the new migrants. However, the community eventually settled in the Blue Mountains. Then, in 1965, after the death of Jessie Ward, they moved to Queensland, taking with them the crates containing Ward's priceless collection. In 1980, Michael Strong was appointed as director of a new Abbey Museum. He was tasked to raise the necessary funds to build a gallery to make Ward's amazing legacy once more accessible to the public.
The new museum was made largely possible by a major grant from the Utah Foundation. The executive director, Henry Bartlett, became a big supporter of the museum and assisted with securing philanthropic grants from the Maya and Ian Potter Foundations. About $1 million was raised to build the new gallery. 2 designers from the Queensland Museum volunteered to assist me to plan the new museum, and it was opened in 1986 by Sir Gordon Chalk.
The new Abbey Museum includes a time passage that explores the human story in Europe from the Paleolithic era to the end of the Industrial Revolution. There are also displays from Egypt, Mesopotamia and Persia, and beautiful ceramics, lacquer and sculptures from Islam, India, China and Japan. In the museum's reserve collection are medieval and Renaissance paintings, including a copy of Raphael's Bridgewater Madonna and a series of important icons.
The Abbey Church, adjacent to the museum, houses the majority of our beautiful stained glass collection. It includes 15th century heraldic glass from Ettington and internationally significant panels originally from Winchester Cathedral in England. New additions to the museum include the donation of a superb 16th century limestone sculpture of the Lamentation of Christ, legal documents from the Yorkshire Dales, and most recently fabulous glass, sculpture and cylinder seals from Turkey and Syria.
The Abbey Museum has an active calendar of public programs, including our renowned medieval festival, which help raise funds for the museum.
Today, the museum continues to grow, enriching the lives of visitors through the stories from our collection. The Abbey Museum has truly become one of Australia's cultural treasures.